Hi guys, good morning. Today's math is going to be very easy because Bonsai is going to help us and it's exactly what we did yesterday. Ignore this, that's from yesterday. So today we're going to keep doing subtracting of fractions with like denominators. And I'm just going to go through two examples very quickly because you can always rewind and go through this video again and again. If you need help, but it's the same thing we did yesterday. So let's do, I don't know, 7/8 minus 5, no, 3/8. 7/8 minus 3/8. Ugh. So, let's do, first we go across the top and we subtract our numerators. 7 minus 3 equals 4, and then we just drag our denominators over. 8 stays the same. Our denominators stay the same. So we have 4/8. Now, one thing we need to remember to do is simplify. Some of you guys can look at 4/8 and already know how to simplify this, but I'm going to go through the factors just in case. 1, 2, and 4. Because 1 times 4 is 4, 2 times 2 is 4. So those are my factors of 4. 8. 1, 2, 4, 8. 1 times 8 is 8. 2 times 4 is 8. So those are my factors of 8. The biggest number in both columns. Yeah, you better run. Get out of here. Crazy cat. Get out. See, I wish you guys were here. Right here, I can already hear Christian saying something silly about the cat and this mess, and I miss you guys like crazy. So the number in both columns is 4. So we're going to divide by 4. Remember, we have to, whatever we do to the top, we have to do to the bottom. Okay, so 4 divided by 4 is 1. 8 divided by 4 is 2. So our answer is 1/2. 4/8 is the same as 1/2. Let's do one more example. And then I'll clean up this mess. He is a terrible teaching assistant. I don't know why I hired him. All right, let's do 10 15ths minus 7 15ths. Okay? First, we're going to subtract the top. 10 minus 7 is 3. Now we're going to drag the bottom. 15 stays the same. 3/15. Now some of you guys might think we're done. We have to check and see if we can simplify it. Factors of 3. This is easy. 3 is a prime number. Only has 2 factors. 1 and 3. 1 times 3 is 3. Now let's do 15. 1, 3, 5, 15. 1 times 15 is 15. 3 times 5 is 15. The only number besides 1 in either column is 3. So we can divide both of these by 3. Divide by 3, divide by 3. 3 divided by 3 is 1. 15 divided by 3 is 5. 1/5. 1/5 is the same as 3/15. And that's it. We're just going to keep subtracting fractions. We're going to keep practicing that skill today. And that's all you're going to do in math. Alright, now that I've cleaned up all my pens because of my crazy cat, for writing today, now I want to go over a little bit of where we should be at this point with our writing. We have written our beginning, middle, and end, roughly. We're not done. We have an idea of what the beginning, middle, and end of our story will be. We came up with our theme. What is the reader going to learn after reading our story? Or what's the message of our story? Why are we writing our story? We hopefully wrote a hook. We grabbed our reader's attention in the beginning of our story. And then yesterday, we started really writing a rising action, that next part. We have our hook, and then we have the rising action of our story. And then today, we're going to start thinking about more details. So it's one thing to say, the man attacked the girl. Right? Boring. But we can start really engaging our five senses. Our five senses are taste, sight, sound, touch, and smell, right? And we can get our reader to really feel like they're in the story. So we can say like, the big, tall, scary man took his clawed hands and crept behind the small girl, right? It's more interesting. So we want to make our reader feel like they're there. We want them to feel like they could taste the things that we're talking about. They could touch the things that we're talking about. We want to get them to feel like they could hear the things that we're talking about, right? Or we're describing. So we're going to think about our five senses and how can we add those in our story. We're going to try to add as many of these descriptions as we can throughout our entire story. So when we think about taste, we can think about words like sweet, spicy. We can think about sour, bland. Bland means it has no flavor. So maybe somewhere in your story somebody's, like think about Snow White, how she tastes an apple, right? And you want to be able to really describe, you want the reader to feel like they can also taste whatever they're tasting in the story. We can do burnt. I just realized I spelled spicy wrong. Oops. That's okay. We make mistakes all the time. We can do bitter. Right? All these things that we're tasting are tasting words, really good descriptive words. Now let's do sight. Sight are things that we see. So you want to think about things like size, so big, small, huge, enormous. You want to think about color, right? Green, blue, orange, polka dot. We want to think about shape when you're describing people. Maybe somebody you're describing has a hunchback, right? Maybe they're really tiny, skinny. So let's do skinny, fat, short, tall, right? Things that you are seeing. Maybe you're describing like, I don't know, dirty. Maybe something's really dirty. Maybe something's really clean. Right? These are things that you can use so we can visualize the things that you're talking about in your story. Now let's do sound. Sound is an interesting one. This is where those onomatopoeia words come in. So like buzz, bam. I kind of think of comic books. You know, in comic books it's like smack. And it has it in big words, things like that. You can do silent, loud, right? Maybe you're entering your world and you're talking about how silent it is. Maybe it's really creepy how silent. There's no noise. Maybe it's really, really loud, right? You can use words like quiet. You can use words like low. When somebody's talking really low, they're talking really deep. Maybe they talk in a high-pitched voice and they sound like a squeaker toy, right? So these are words that you can describe sound. Maybe it's like high, like really high. Oh, it hurts your ears, right? All right, touch. Touch is a good one. So maybe you're trying to describe the way something feels. So maybe it's soft. Maybe it's sticky. Maybe it's rough, right? Maybe it's wrinkled. Maybe it's cold. to the touch, right? Maybe it's hot to the touch. Maybe it's wet. Maybe it's dry. These are all words that you can use to describe the way something feels. We have rough, maybe we have smooth. Right? These are all really good words. And there are so many words. And you guys have the internet at your fingertips, right? You can look on places like RhymeZone. I use RhymeZone. Or you can look up synonyms. Remember, synonyms are words that mean the same thing. So you can look up synonyms of cold. Maybe you use the word cold a lot. You don't want to use the word cold anymore. Synonyms of cold. And you can get other words that mean the same thing or similar to it. And you can use different words. Last thing is smell. So does it smell good? Bad? Ugh. Sweet? I don't know, tangy? Does it smell disgusting? Right? These are all words that describe smell. When you are coming up with different adjectives to add to your story, in your writing journal, you're just going to go back to the beginning of your story, kind of reread it, and see if there are any places where you can add descriptive words. And all of you can add a lot more descriptive words to your story. The story you're going to listen to, I believe it's called How I Became a Pirate. I want you to pay attention to the descriptive words that he's using. And think about your own story, right? So maybe a very descriptive pirate word is, I don't know, R, right? That's something pirates say. If you are writing a story about an alien who kidnapped a princess and then the alien says R, does that make sense in your story? Probably not. So just because you are listening to these descriptive words in this story doesn't mean, oh, I'm going to use all these words in my story. Because maybe it doesn't make sense. But I want you to pay attention to all the words that they use that make you feel like, oh, this is a pirate story. And think about the words, you're writing about aliens. Look up alien vocabulary. Look up, you're doing like a medieval, look up medieval words, right? You guys have the internet right in front of you. So I want you to add as many details as you can. When I read your story, I want to feel like, oh, I can smell that. I can feel that. I can see that. I can visualize it. So add as much description as you can to your story. Okay, guys, so we are on chapter 8 of Restart, and we are back to the point of view of Chase to see from his point of view. Remember, we just read Shoshana yesterday, and she is not happy about Chase being a part of the video club. Today, this is a short chapter, and today, by the end of it, we're going to kind of be in the story with Helene. And I want to ask, do you think Helene remembers what Chase did? By the end of this chapter, I want to know what you think, if she can remember what Chase did. Because we're about to find out what Chase did to her. At least one thing she did to her. He could have done more. And I want to know if you think she remembers. 3 to 5 sentences. I keep getting responses with like 3 to 5 words. Not even a sentence. There's no capital. There's no punctuation. We need all these things. I don't want to see your answer and read, yeah, she remembers. No, that's not enough. I need 3 to 5 sentences. Yes, I think Helene remembers because. Or no, I don't think Helene remembers because. 3 to 5 sentences. Not words, sentences. I'm going to start sending the responses back to you and make you do them over. Because remember, I'm grading those. And each one is worth 10 points. So if you don't even give me a sentence, you don't even get like 2 points out of 10. So make sure you're giving me a good answer. You're doing the work. You might as well give it all that you've got. All right. Chase Ambrose, chapter 8. The Hiawassee Middle School Hurricanes play a preseason scrimmage against East Norwich on Saturday. I make it a point to be there, not as a player, but as a member of the video club. Miss DeLeo put me in charge of athletics for the video yearbook, so the game is as good a place to start as any. As I climb the bleachers, the flip cam is an awkward weight in my hand. I don't feel like a video club kid, not that I can recall being any kind of kid. This is supposed to be the site of my greatest glories. Yes, yet I've lost all of that. The sight of the players on the field doesn't bring back a rush of gridiron memories. I guess I always pictured vast crowds cheering my name, but there isn't much turnout for the scrimmage. Maybe a couple of dozen kids and a handful of other people scattered around the stands. I raise the camera and shoot a couple of plays. Brendan said I was a natural filming how to clean your tricycle. That was easy, though. That stunt at the car wash was the craziest, funniest, most bizarre thing I've ever seen. I honestly couldn't look away, and since I was watching through the camera viewfinder, I captured the insanity from start to finish. It would be wrong to say I had the time of my life, since I can't speak for my life before the accident, but it was more than enough for Brendan to convince me that video club was the place for me. A foghorn voice drowns out the PA announcement broadcasting over the loudspeaker. "Champ, over here!" It's my dad, sitting in the 4th row with Helene. "I never miss a game," he exclaims, assuring me that he has been here on the 50-yard line week in and week out, all through the 28-year gap between his state championship and my own. Helene's turning into a real-life fan, too. My half-sister has set up an impressive array of dollhouse furniture on the metal bleachers and is playing with a couple of Barbies. As far as I've seen, she hasn't looked in the direction of the field once. For such a big Hurricanes fan, Dad sure doesn't seem to have any fun watching them play. The longer we visit, the darker his mood gets, blackening and lowering until it hangs over him like a line of thunderheads. "Did you see that?" he complains. "The left guard is supposed to cut block on that play. Otherwise, there's no hole for the running back." Or, "Our quarterback doesn't see the field. He had a man wide open in the end zone." Or, "What kind of tackling is that? Did you used to tackle like that? I never tackled like that." I don't remember anything about playing football, I tell him honestly, zooming in tight on the huddle. So I have no idea how I used to tackle. "Yeah, well, it was a lot better than that," he snorts. "You used to wrap up your man and bring him down properly." By this time, the Hurricanes were on the wrong end of a 24-7 score. It's funny, I've forgotten everything about my own football career, but I know the game itself. When I shoot footage of the action on the field, I get what the players are doing, or at least trying to do. Either East Norwich is all universe, or this year's Hiawassee Hurricanes aren't a team of destiny. I have no idea how good I am, but it's hard to believe that one person could make up the difference between these stumble bums and last year's state champions. "We're at a sink," I observe. "The O-line is opening up some good holes, but the backs are never in the right place to run through them." "Exactly." Dad slaps me too hard on my bad shoulder. "That's what I always say. We've got the talent. We do when you're on the field anyway. All we need is the timing." I'm sure it isn't the first time my father and I have ever agreed on something, but it's the first time I actually remember. That's another thing amnesia made me forget, how much I like his approval. Helene has dismantled her Barbie condo on the bleachers and is bored out of her mind. "Daddy, can we leave?" "Not yet, honey." Dad doesn't even glance away from the field. It's still the 3rd quarter. I point the flip cam at her. "Why don't you set up your furniture again? We can make a movie about your dolls." She curls her lip at me. "They're Barbies." "Barbie can be a movie star," I offer. As she places the plastic chair and tables with great care, quarterback Joey Petronas throws an interception that East Norwich runs back for yet another touchdown. That does it for Dad. He goes off on a diatribe against the players, the coaches, even the guys who make the chalk lines on the field. I'm not immune either. He finishes with, "What are you doing with that camera anyway? You should be in this game, not taking pictures of it. I know you don't remember how good you are, but I promise you, you are that good." I start to tell him I'm only here to cover the team for the video yearbook. But something makes me swallow the words before they hit air. I understand on a gut level that that isn't what Dad wants to hear. Instead, I find myself saying, "I want to get back on the field. As soon as the doctor gives the okay, you'll see. I'll be out there." Dad nods, pleased. That's who we are, champ. We're Ambrose men. We're the doers. Other people take pictures of us. Helene acts out entire storylines with her Barbies. I capture it on video, all the while keeping up a running game commentary with Dad, who doesn't seem to be a Barbie guy. Surprise, surprise. When I play the footage back to Helene on my tiny screen, she squeals with delight. And there, sitting on the bleachers in front of a bad football game, it happens. I remember. I mean, there's nothing wrong with my ability to remember. I remember everything that's happened since I woke up in the hospital. But before the accident, except for that weird image of the girl in a blue, nothing. Until now. It's a flashback of Helene. She's probably what triggered it, because in my memory, she's squealing just like she is now. Wait, no. It isn't a happy sound. Her cheeks are red, her face twisted, and she's about to bawl. In the memory, I'm holding a stuffed teddy, her favorite. I remember that too. Actually, I've got the bear in my left hand and its head in my right. I ripped the head off a 4-year-old's teddy bear. Definitely not the memory I'd been hoping for, but still. I remembered something, I exclaim out loud. Yeah, what? Dad actually turns his attention from the game. Something from before the accident. See? He's triumphant. I told you there's nothing wrong with you. You'll be back in commission in no time. And man, do we need you out there. On the field, our halfback takes a handoff and is buried under a pile of East Norwich jerseys. Dad's looking away so he misses it. A tiny gap in the weak side of the defensive line. Our guy could have hit that. I would have hit that. I stutter step to the left. That's what I would have done. Juke out the linebacker and gone. My shoulders shimmy as I make the imaginary cuts in my head. I see it now. I was a player. Correction, I am a player. And as I picture it, the image of the headless teddy bear starts to fade. After all, it's just a stuffed toy. Helene is perfectly happy now. No harm, no foul. I'll bet she's forgotten it ever happened. So that's my question for you. And I don't know if you guys are noticing, but a lot of things are happening, right? Chase doesn't remember all this stuff, and he doesn't really seem to care about all the sports stuff. But then as soon as he gets around his dad, right, it's really important to him. He wants his approval. And he seems to care. He doesn't like the fact that he ripped up the teddy bear, but then he starts thinking about football, and he's like, oh, whatever. No harm, no foul. It's in the past. Do you think Helene thinks that? Do you think Helene doesn't remember? Or Helene, a 4-year-old, thinks, who cares? It's in the past. I'm over it. What do you think? Do you think Helene remembers what Chase did? 3, 2, 5 sentences. Thank you.